Okay, so it seems to me that the stuff happening way down inside of us is difficult to talk about, partly because those experiences aren't really accessible by the senses. You can't usually see or hear psychic pain, and it's difficult to describe without simile or metaphor. Like, I might say that it feels like there's a void inside of me, or like my insides are twisted, or like my brain is on fire. I can say what it's like more than I can say what it is. So I have obsessive compulsive disorder, which is mostly seen in the popular imagination as being about, like, excessive hand washing or neatness or whatever, because those are things you can see, you know? They're not like the formless, insensate horrors of psychic pain. They're behaviors that you can, like, portray in a movie. But for me, at least, there's a reason the obsessive comes before the compulsive in the name. So I experience these obsessive thought spirals in which intrusive thoughts, that is, like, thoughts that I don't want to have that seem to come from outside of me, sort of hijack my consciousness. Now, everyone has known some version of not being able to choose their thoughts. Like, after you lose someone, you may find yourself thinking about them all the time. You may see a sunset and think about seeing a sunset with that person, or you open a car door and remember driving with them, etc. But for me, these obsessive thought spirals happen all the time, and they can take over for days or weeks or months. Like, I might worry out of nowhere that my food is contaminated or somehow poisoned, and then suddenly that will be the only thought I'm able to think, the thought I'm either thinking or distracting myself from all the time. And when that gets bad, I can lose all control over my thoughts for an extended period of time, to the extent that I can't follow what's happening in a TV show or read a book. These intrusive thoughts, for most people, are not a problem. By the way, when I first heard this term years ago, I heard it as invasive thoughts, which I actually like better, because it does feel to me as if my invasive thoughts, like invasive plants, have arrived at my biosphere from somewhere else and are now spreading out of control. In my brain, these invasives take over. They become the only thought I'm allowed to think. As a kid, it was often a fear of poisoning. I'd become convinced that I'd eaten something that was going to kill me, and I couldn't stop worrying about it, no matter what I did. Eventually, I find it really difficult to explain the terror of these thought spirals, but imagine having your mind infiltrated by an actual demon, which forces you to think the same awful or disgusting thought over and over and over and over again, and in the process makes it impossible for you to think about person X, or your family, or the needs of others, or the needs of yourself, or literally anything that is not that awful/disgusting thought dictated by the demon. In an unrelated story, I don't feel very well. Hank, you may be wondering why today's video is a little late. It's because I'm feeling a lot of anxiety and I've had a very busy day. First, I spent 3 hours at the eye doctor. It was like this, only it lasted much, much longer. Then they dilated my eyes so I couldn't see anything. Then, in a dimly lit room, the doctor told me I probably have nothing to worry about. I probably have nothing to worry about. If I probably have nothing to worry about, then I definitely have something to worry about. Don't tell me I probably have nothing to worry about. That's not helpful. Tell me, you're fine. Congratulations. Good work on those eyes, kid. Then on the way home, I talked on the phone to you during a terrible traffic jam. Then I left my cell phone in his car. But because he's the world's nicest cab driver, he drove to my house and gave it to me. So everything worked out fine. I probably have nothing to worry about, and I lost my cell phone, but then I got it back. I shouldn't be worried, I should be happy, so why am I worried? There's just this big bundle of stress that I can never get rid of. I blame Dad. I mean, if Dad hadn't had cancer when he was my age, I probably wouldn't worry about having cancer. By the way, do you know you can get eyeball cancer? Very rare. You probably won't get it. But you might!